When it comes to streaming, I think it's safe to say at this point that the entire streaming platform and idea is not as lucrative as a lot of these companies and studios thought it was going to be. And we've seen many of the streamers, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, that aren't profitable and haven't been profitable are also being beat by platforms that you would not expect. And we have an article here from Deadline that we're going to talk about this and what this could mean more than likely going forward for a lot of these major streamers to try and become profitable. So, hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. We have an article here from Deadline, and the headline here is Fast Platforms Had Bigger TV Share Than Many Premium Streamers Once Again in June, and What is Driving Their Success. And they're talking about streamers like Roku, Tubi, and Pluto TV. And these are free ad-supported streaming platforms where, you don't pay anything. You just watch an ad, kind of like right here on YouTube. A lot of people do is you watch videos and you have ads sprinkled in with, before, during, and after videos. It says free ad-supported streaming television continues to be on a growth trajectory, once again rivaling its premium subscription counterparts in June. For the second month in a row, Tubi, the Roku channel, and Pluto TV collectively accounted for a bigger share of television, 4.3%, than the combined total of Max, Paramount Plus, and Peacock, according to Nielsen's latest edition, it says, of The Gauge, a monthly streaming report. Tubi took a 2% share of TV use, an impressive 14.7% growth from May, putting up nearly identical statistics as Disney Plus. In fact, when Disney Plus is added into the premium services collective total, it just barely surpasses the combined usage of the FAST channels at 4.7%. The obvious answer to the success of the FAST channels is that they are free, which is very enticing to consumers with the rising cost of every premium service. But there are also several other universal truths that these platforms have acknowledged and built their platforms on that have contributed to this growth. It says, quote, "It has been a long time coming." Andrew Rosen, a former Viacom executive and founder of streaming newsletter Parkour. I don't think that's the Parkour that you would know from, maybe The Office and things, but okay. It says, what fasts are ultimately providing in the wake of Netflix's success is that the product and viewing experience matters as much, if not more, than the content being watched. Fasts are increasingly winning because they are products first and walled gardens for content last. After years of premium streamers jockeying for subscribers, those leading the fast channels argue that the future of television probably looks a lot like the past. Only now it's on the internet and it's on demand. They said stage one of streaming wars really was painting this picture that ultimately what was the pay TV model, 10 to 15% of the market, was going to dominate. Adam Lewinson says, the reality is, this is video on demand, is and will continue to be a very robust piece of the market, but the majority will still be free ad supported. So what this article is basically going into is the fact that free television, it's ad supported, it's performing better that people are paying for. And part of the reason for this is for like on Roku TV and things, they show it's almost like Netflix. They're showing things that people know. It's like the stuff that used to be on like TNT or TBS. You have those movies like Armageddon. If Armageddon's on, you're like, oh, I'll watch the rest of that, or whatever those types of movies that you would just watch. Those are the types of things that are on Tubi, Roku, Pluto. They're just showing content that people already know and are willing to watch. Whereas on the, Disney Plus, Paramount, Peacock, and all these ones, they're creating content for you to sign up for their platforms to watch it. And part of the reason I think for this is the content is not very good. I think if you had really, really good content on all these platforms, I think people probably would sign up to watch it. But even then, the other issue they have is the only way for these major streamers that they're going to be able to make money is what they had to do with cable, which is advertising. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but cable also had no ads when it first launched, and it eventually obviously brought in advertising. This is the same thing that they're all pushing on, Disney Plus, Paramount, Netflix, and all of them, is they're pushing people toward the ad models because that's how they make the most money. And they're going to start charging more and more and more for the ad-free model, to the point where it doesn't make any sense, at least for most people, to have the ad-free model. They're just going to say, okay, I'll sign up for Disney Plus for, $5 cheaper per month or whatever it is, and have ads in there. It's going to be the same thing as cable. The only difference being now it's a video on demand, but it is looking very much how cable used to look. And this is proven again in the article they talk about. It says, cue the streaming wars. In an effort to rival Netflix, the legacy studios began to take back their content and create, as Rosen put it, these walled gardens where viewers had to pay. And a lot of this too is the studios saw the success of Netflix, got greedy because they all thought, oh, because Netflix was basically just taking people's content, getting the license, and replaying it. If you look at the top stuff of Netflix, it was basically built off The Office, Friends, Parks and Rec, stuff like that. It was shows that was already run its course. They replayed on Netflix. People would binge watch it. It wasn't as much about the original content on Netflix because that came much later after a lot of these places start saying, hey, we're going to take our content back and launch our own, platform. And it says, in an effort to rival Netflix, the legacy studios began to take back their content and create, as Rosen put it, these walled gardens where viewers had to pay. Said the demand for streaming libraries is much lower than they had assumed. That is very true. Walled gardens are less valuable in the streaming era. That reflects as much of a problem of imagination as it does its execution. As Disney was building its streaming service in 2019, CEO Bob Iger told the Wall Street Journal, I think if people are clicking on Mickey Mouse, they mostly want Mickey Mouse. That's the philosophy on which all of the premium streamers built their platforms. They relied on the strength of their own libraries to convince audiences to pay a monthly subscription fee to access only their content on a monthly basis without churning out. Turns out that wasn't exactly a winning strategy for the long term, and even the premium streamers eventually begin to introduce the lower cost ad-supported subscriptions. Tubi, Roku Channel, and Pluto all reject that logic. If someone is clicking on Mickey Mouse, they want to be entertained, and Mickey Mouse isn't always the answer to that entertainment. That's a great point. And a lot of it is obviously, if you're Disney, you want people to watch your content only. But the truth of the matter is most people aren't hooked into just one brand. There are some people obviously that maybe all they watch is Disney stuff. But a lot of people will say, hey, I'll watch this, and then I'll go watch House of the Dragon over here, and I'll go watch this show over here. And there isn't a loyalty to a network or a studio as much as it's just wanting to be entertained. Instead, the fast channels rely much more on their distribution tactics with a secondary emphasis on the library of content. They bank on their technological expertise to perfect their algorithms to provide personalized recommendations and build dynamic user interfaces and operational backends that contribute to a more satisfying experience for many viewers. And they go on to a big reason for this, I think, is for younger audiences, this is a model they've become accustomed to by growing up in a social media era where watching hours of content on YouTube, which is the most watched streaming platform to date, that is a major thing that they're not really mentioning as much. YouTube is the biggest streamer. I mean, it's winning the streaming wars, and it is completely ad supported, which kind of shows you exactly the way forward if you really want the answer to all this. When one video ended, a whole list of personalized recommendations was available to keep going. And that's one thing that's built YouTube is I'm sure there are some people that only watch one channel. And for instance, a lot of people may be watching this video that do subscribe to this channel. I would never imagine that they're only subscribed to this channel. There's other channels that they watch. And this is where the model, like the thinking at Disney Plus, is only people are going to subscribe to them only and nobody else. Well, they want to subscribe to other things, but now that they're all charging these exorbitant amounts and then fees and have gone up, people are just saying, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to go to the thing that's ad supported. And that's exactly what's happening with this. And I think that's just, it's the greed and the hubris of these studios just to assume that people are going to buy into just their content only and nobody else's. Tubi, the Roku Channel, and Pluto have all dipped their toes in the originals market. In April, the Spiderwick Chronicles became Roku's most watched on-demand title ever in its debut, and Deadline recently touted Tubi's Big Mood, starring Nicola Coughlan and Lydia West, is one of the best shows of the year so far. Lewison says roughly 26% of Tubi's viewership each month comes from original content. I didn't know they had original content, but makes sense. Still, licensed content makes up a vast majority of the library on every FAST service. Ellenberg says he thinks this will always be the case. We need and rely on a healthy, larger entertainment ecosystem because we can't populate the channel with enough content if we don't have strong partnerships. That is the major thing there. And I think this is what got Disney in trouble and a lot of these other ones is Netflix is successful because of the licensing deals for this other things, and they have the original content on top of it. So it's a mix. You take things that are already made. It's cheap to bring in this content that's licensed out. You do the ad-supported tiers. You're going to make money, and that then supports your original programming you can do, and then that mixes in with the content you have. I think that's probably the way forward, although you're going to have the likes of Disney Plus, Netflix, and those charging for this, but that model will still be there in terms of it will still be ad supported. Now, what's interesting is how do they compete? If Tubi and these other ones start doing much better, like, is there going to be a reason people would pay the extra money for, say, Disney Plus or Netflix as these other ones compared to those. I suppose that is really where the battle is. And of course, you throw YouTube in there as well. The legacy studios have started to realize the inevitable truth here, that they are better served by licensing much of their content to other streamers with a larger, more diverse reach. That's why so many titles have gone to Netflix and found new life. So it sounds like the old days of television when reruns of Seinfeld might air in hour-long blocks on cable for the passive viewer's enjoyment. This begs the question for consumers, why pay at all when so many titles or will be available for free? They say as long as tech and other and user experiences of FAST are better than the paid products, then questions about the value of Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Max are going to grow. Rosen said, why do these services exist if they cannot get targeted customers to pay to watch their libraries? I think that's a pretty good article and really sums it up. And again, I think they all thought there was all this money to be made, I guess, especially in COVID, because they thought everybody was just going to stay home forever. And there's way more competition. Now, the good thing is when more competition is out there, the consumer wins. So Disney Plus and all these ones raising their prices, having this upscale, these Rakus and Tubis and other ones popping up is a good thing for the consumer, which obviously you're going to start seeing that these bigger players, these major studios are going to have to adapt to this, which is why they're bringing in the ad models, because it's really the only way they can make money. I think they were all duped by thinking that they could all form their own Netflix, and that just simply is not the case. And I think they're much more likely, there's even rumors of Disney looking at trying to do their own YouTube. I don't think they can do that. I just don't think they're set up for that. I think YouTube is a very unique thing. But I think they could look at these models of Tubi, Roku, and Pluto and implement a lot of the things that they have. And I think you'll probably start seeing, Disney even and Paramount, all these other ones, start doing more licensing deals again, because licensing is easy money. And it also gets your product out to a wider audience, a wider net than just being on your own ecosystem alone. That's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage of pop culture, theme parks, and other things like that around here. And let us know in the comments what you think about this. And do you think this is going to change the way that the big streamers operate, or do you think they're just going to continue doing what they've been doing for a while now? And until next time, we will see you later.